Hey there and welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuck with Queen Bee Creations. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'm going to be going into my stash a little bit back here. So I know that some of you are kind of always perusing what I've got piled up back there. And those are finds when I'm out thrifting, when I see something that's interesting. I might not have a clue what to do with it then, but I figure it looks like something I could do something with at some point. So I did go into that with the idea of pulling out some little items that I had picked up that we're gonna turn into some fall decor. And just because I wanna give you an idea of how to be able to look at some of this stuff and decorate it up for the season. And again, be able to do it in a way that you could easily switch it out. So big and small. I have this little candle holder, right? So we'd normally do tea lights. So we're gonna do something with this. I've got this big guy, which, you know, is designed, it's got a plastic insert, so it's designed to put flowers in it. It opens from the top and you would put some kind of floral pots in it. It says garden. But again, during the summer, I got it originally with the thought that during the summer, perfect. But I had so many different boxes and planters, I just didn't need more. So we're gonna do something fallish, fallish with that. And I have another similar thing that's got this big fake candle in it. So perfect, because we don't have to worry about putting, you know, paper leaves and things around it. It's not gonna melt it. It works, and you're able to turn it on from the bottom, and it's got the access to it. So that's kind of cool. So we're gonna do something with that, and then we're going little. I got this little tea light holder hangs, and again, I'd originally thought of doing just zhuzhing it up a little bit and putting it out in the backyard, but kind of gets lost. So we're gonna not do it as a tea light and just show you even little smalls like this, how you can do something with it. Now, one of the things that I had thought was making some pumpkins for some of these things. And I decided I'm not going to, but I experimented with it. So just a little bonus, I just want to show you, I took a package of orange balloons from the dollar store. One I filled with rice, and one I filled with just polyfilla, right? Like that normal stuffing stuff. And in fact, I just used stuff that had come out of a dog toy. My dog loves to destroy stuffed toys. She has a lot of fun doing it, so every so often I give her one so that she can have fun doing it. And interestingly enough, she doesn't tear apart shoes or foam cushions or even pillows. She doesn't do any of that, just the toy that you specifically give her. So, you know, every so often you just say, go to town. I pick this stuff up and I just reuse it. So this is the one that I did with the rice, and I just put little fake leaves. These are leaves from the dollar store. I cut down to size, and I had tied it up with a little bit of jute cord, and I just wrapped it around the rest of the tied off section here, and a little bit of Spanish moss and stuff. But what I found is that the rice is so dense. I had thought about tying jute around to be able to make little indents in the pumpkin, but it was so dense that didn't work. So I decided to do a little polyfilla one. So I did this little guy, and it's got the little cording. I just used some tapestry cord, but you know, use whatever you have. And they're cute enough, but it didn't really warrant a whole big video. But they were cute enough that I thought, oh, maybe you'd like to do this. And pretty kid friendly. Apart from I used hot glue, you could use other glue to do it. Kids are gonna have fun. I dumped rice all over my floor because I didn't have a funnel, which is easiest. So what I ended up doing was from another craft that I haven't finished, where I was cutting bottles apart. I'll get to it, probably in time for next summer. I used this. So I put the balloon on the bottom, put the rice in there, and then I just kept pulling the balloon up and down to create enough space for more rice to flow into it. So I thought I'd share them just because I did them, and maybe this is something that you want to try and do with the kids. I could have done a little baby video as a bonus, but hey, you're getting it bonus in this, and gee, thanks for watching. So, first things on this, I am going to paint this white. I am going to spray paint this white. I am going to, so this is off-camera stuff because you really don't need to see me paint this white. I'm going to be using DIY, which is what I sell here in the shop, queenbeecreationshome.com. So I'm just going to be painting it white, probably beadboard. This one, I don't want the garden sign on there, so I'm going to sand it off and then see what the wood looks like. I was thinking of not painting this, but depending upon what happens with this, I may have to get creative here. So that's a, let's see what happens. With our metal guy, I'm kind of debating leaving it metal. Now, this is kind of grungy. It obviously had some stuff glued onto the top before, so I'm gonna glue some stuff onto it again so that, so that I don't have to worry about it. But I think I'm gonna leave it the silver, just for a change. So, off camera, I'm gonna go do some painting and then come on back at ya as we zhuzh it up, which is the main thing. And why I picked these particular items is because none of them needs a lot of work. So when you're looking at trying to create some decor for your home and fancy some things up, sometimes you just want something that's going to be quick and easy. And these are likely some items that you have something similar in your home, and we'll go from there. Now, the other thing that I do have that I'm going to paint is I have these little fake pumpkins from the dollar store. So I got 2 sets of them. Each set had a short guy and a tall guy, 4 holes. See where I'm going? But I'm going to use, if you saw the last 3 pumpkin video, I'll put a link here. I did a stacked pumpkin with kind of ombre, and I still have some of that mid-tone blue. So the middle pumpkin, I still have some of that. Actually, probably not quite like that. I think I dumped the light colored blue in with the mid-tone blue, so I've got something in between the two. That's what I did. So I have that leftover paint. So I'm gonna also paint these blue. So a lot of painting going on. These are blue, 2 coats, 1 coat of white. We'll sand, we'll spray, and then I'll be back at you. All right, quick update on this guy. I did sand off the front. This is the front over here, but it didn't look perfect. It looked kind of green still. It kind of went down into it. So what I decided to do was, and you can kind of see the difference between here and the rest of the wood. I am taking Old and Gray by DIY, and I am just kind of graying out the wood a little bit. This is kind of already in a gray tone, and I like it, so I'm not going to change that. But what I'm doing is, rather than making this wood look bright, I'm just kind of painting it with the Old and Gray, which is just kind of weathering it a little bit, and I like that better. Now, you could take Dark and Decrepit by DIY, which is more of a brown, and you could do a darker look even, and I had debated doing that. But I don't show you this as often, and again, there's times that I'm using it, as you can tell, because this is almost an empty container. I just wanted to give you an idea, and I didn't want this to go too dark because I want you to be able to see the stuff I put inside it. So just wanted to do a quick update on what happened with the sanding and what didn't work and what I'm doing instead. I just want to pop on here and quickly say, to finish this off, I'm going to give it a light sand. I'm going to do some light distressing just to bring back a little bit of that dark color, highlight the details a little bit, and then I am going to seal it with a polyacrylic of your choice. I'm going to be using DIY Big Top, but use what you got. And then we'll be ready, once that's dry, to start staging this up. The other items also ready to stage up, so we're going to do that all at once. All right, let's get started. We have, to begin with, we've got this big kind of planter, and you can see how this wood now looks with that Old and Gray on it. It looks so much better. It was easy enough to paint because I didn't have to be super careful because this was already gray. So it just kind of weathered it out. You can't see where that lettering was now. It's my thrifting sticker. So I paid $7 less 30%. So what's that? 7, 14, 21, so about $5. So not bad. Okay. What I have done is I have popped just some little pieces of floral foam that I got from the dollar store. I cut it up to put down into the base so that we had something to be able to glue some of our items down to, stick them into, and also just to not have to fill this with our stuff, right? We want it sitting up high enough so it's down low enough that it's not going to show. And I just have a mishmash of stuff, mishmash, nice technical term, mishmash of stuff that I've gotten from the dollar store in the past. So last year I got, let me cut off the big honkin' tie. So last year I got this little scarecrow guy. Didn't really know what I was gonna do with him. Now I do. So I'm thinking that he'd look good kind of propped up in one corner, and you can see that that foam gave us some good height there. So I'm gonna go ahead and, well, I just plugged in my glue gun, so it's just kind of getting hot. And I'm gonna stick him in that corner. And what I did not do was I did not glue down my foam, because then all of this decor can lift out. I can switch it out for Christmas, and I can add greenery and some bottle brush trees into it. I could fill it up with baubles if I wanted, change it out again for spring, and just so you'll see now he's glued down, he just lifts right out. And I love doing that with some of these decor pieces because then I don't have to store this big box from season to season. I'm just able to bag up the pieces that I had for it, and I can use this same decor piece from season to season. So what I wanted to do was put in some of my bigger elements. So I was thinking of maybe like a sunflower kind of thing with it, but I want this facing forward. So I very often will turn them. So let me see. I may balance that one out a little bit in the other corner. And this one I can just stick down into the foam, because I wanted to have a little bit of height, but I don't want to put it at exactly the same height as him, right? So I want to have that just a little bit lower. He'll be my tallest element. And I have this one kind of rustic looking painted pumpkin. I think it's got like some of that decoupaged with raffia. I was thinking that cream stuff. Raffia. And it's going to be a little bit large. And I'm just seeing if I kind of tuck that down in front. I like that. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it. And again, you don't even have to glue. If you're doing this for yourself, you can just stuff things in there and don't even glue them down, because it's just going to sit on your sideboard, your counter, a buffet, up on a shelf. So it's not going to be an issue, because this is going in the store and I'm going to have customers that buy it and ultimately transport it home. I'm just adding a little bit of glue so that when they get it home, it's going to look sort of like it did when they bought it, right? So I like those elements, and I'm kind of loving how this is just sort of see-through. It's going to be this vignette that is there, but, you know, just a little bit subtle. Now, speaking of raffia, I have this little bundle, and I'm just wondering about tucking that in. Oh, that just kind of fills that in nicely. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tack that down in a little bit of glue. So it's kind of bent over, so it'll sort of sit and climb up the back. Fills in that back just a little bit. And then it's got a couple of orange leaves. Now here's where my hands are big as I'm stuffing things in. Okay, and then I have some little mini pumpkins, and these are old pumpkins that have been pulled off of other projects, so the bottoms don't look that great, but the tops look good. And so I'm just gonna glue in a little bit of an assortment of those in some various sizes. And then, okay, this is an old bundle. I'm gonna take these berries, and then that one's done. So I'm just gonna finish gluing a couple of smaller pumpkins in, and we're good to go. Next one we're gonna do nice and quick and easy, but I just wanted to show you how you can take virtually anything and turn it, anything that's in your home, and turn it into a decor piece for fall. And then certainly switching it out as you move from season to season. So we've got this little tea light holder, perfect for the back garden. Stick a tea light in, hang it. It's got a hanging hook from a tree, perfectly fine. But we're going to switch it up, just a little tiny shelf sitter, stick it up. I would love this sitting just on top of a candlestick as part of a vignette, so a little bit more subtle. We're gonna do this up, and again, I wanna leave this so you could switch it out to springtime or Christmas or whatever. So because it's going to be with its lid, it doesn't really have to get glued down. We're going to put enough in there. So I'm just taking some Spanish moss, and I've made it into a bit of a nest. And I'm going to pop that down right where that tea light would be. I've got a little speckled pumpkin here, and not a nice looking pumpkin. Now this I'm going to glue down because it's going to glue into the Spanish moss, not into the base of my item, but I really want that white part to be kind of toward the back. And I'm just going to kind of push it down and nestle it down in there. Now, just to give it a little bit of height, I have just these tiny little kind of lightly orange tone sprigs, and I'm just going to push them down in the back of my pumpkin just to kind of give a little bit of height as we close up that lid. And there we just have this cute little pumpkin in a cage that we can top onto a little candlestick perhaps, or include on a tiered tray. So something small, but that just adds that little touch of fall. For this one, let me just, I've got some stuff on the inside of my light there. I'm gonna take it out, but it just sits down in here, and it's got the open bottom so that you can turn the light on and off. And this has got old glue stuck on there, so not a big deal because we're gonna stick glue on it too. What I want to do is just create a little bit of layering first. So I'm gonna take a couple of just dollar store maple leaves, and I'm going to bend the stems and just kind of stick them up in the corners. So they're just sort of sitting up in there and just kind of giving a little bit of color to that area before I start laying other elements in there. All right, what I have here are just small little bundles of raffia. So I've just taken the raffia, cut them loose on the ends. I kind of stuck in one little wired leaf, and I just tied them off in the middle so that I'd have something to roughly glue them down with. And what I thought was that I would glue them down lengthwise along each of the sides so that I have them on either side of candle. So I just have to be a little conscious of making sure that I have space for my candle once it gets in there. Okay, so I have a bunch of little pumpkins and some little berries and some little flowers, and I think I need still a little bit of zhuzhing down in there. So I think what I might do is stick down a little bit of moss. So just a little bit of Spanish moss underneath. And just a little bit of glue just to kind of roughly hold it in place. But just so that I don't have tons of that metal floor showing, and it's just going to look a little fuller. And it's going to let things look kind of nestled in. Okay, so now it's just a case of looking at what are the elements that we want to add in. So I've got a couple of little pumpkins that maybe I could, oh, you're not a nice looking pumpkin. That I could add in to cover, and here I'm looking to cover where I tied my little raffia, tied my raffia. So I could do okay, so I'm liking those pumpkins there, so let's get them attached. Okay, so here we've got our little scene on the inside. We're gonna close this up. And in this case, you know, our big tall wooden one, I didn't do anything. So there we go. There's our little item there. Oh, you know what? Just that front door. Let me add another little something. Maybe. Okay, I have these little old seed pods that I was gifted with, and they're just, I don't even know what they're pods to, so if you know, tell me. But I'm just gonna add them on, one on either side, because there's like open doorways there, and you can see these, so they're just kind of extra special and cool, and I'll never get them again, so I want to put them a place that makes sense. Now, this has all kinds of old stuff attached to the top, so we need to cover that up, which means, because this can hang, but it's probably going to sit. So what we're going to do is look at taking some leaves. Okay, I like that leaf. Maybe over the green one. We'll add some little leaves. Okay. I can do some of the same with these. Awesome. Okay. So let's add these on. And just cover up the gook that's already there. Okay, let's add these. Okay, one more to go. the pumpkins, the little mini pumpkins that I had painted, I also sprayed with a poly. So just to let you know that I sealed them off. And this is how I painted them. I pulled out, where's your little stem? I pulled out the little plastic stem, already had a hole, stuck a skewer in, and then I was able to paint it, I was able to spray it, left them propped up like this. And then I'm just going to put the little stem, the little peduncle, back in. So then those little pumpkins are ready to go. And I just need to go and check and see if our sealer is finished on the other one yet. So we've got our little tea light box back. You can see lightly distressed, just adding a little bit more interest. Now the first thing that I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm going to make those little nests like I did for the small tea light with the pumpkin and out of Spanish moss, and just kind of glue them down into there to just kind of nestle them in. So easiest to just stick a little bit of glue around the rim. Ouch. And pop those down in. Okay. So what I'm not going to do is I don't think I'm going to decorate the top of the pumpkin. So each of these is going to nestle down into here. And instead, I think I'm going to decorate the base. So we're going to glue these down, and then we're going to start decorating. So I do have some of these little sprigs that are they're just kind of a purpley tone. Again, just for some contrast. And they were just off of a big thrifted bundle of stuff that I got. So they were just in an old, tired looking little arrangement, and I'm kind of going, okay, I could use that. So don't ever discount those. I often have them. They start looking pretty scary in the shop because they're half pulled apart and let's take a look at our finished projects. The idea behind today's video was really to give you some inspiration for looking at some items that you may have already in your home that maybe you were using for summer or for springtime, and how do you repurpose it, just switch it out to create more of a fall look for your home. So it doesn't mean that you always have to have everything that's purchased specifically for one season. How do we switch it out? So the first project that we had was this big kind of summer planter box, and we just changed out the color a little bit, and we added a bit of a fall vignette. This is kind of an all-in-one. It's kind of enclosed, and it's just something that sits up on your shelf, that sits out on your sideboard, that it can be part of a bigger vignette with some other pumpkins around the base, maybe on a table runner, but it's designed to have its back against the wall and just kind of add that touch of, it's kind of sitting very precariously over there. This little guy was just an example of something very small that you don't necessarily think of, but any of your tea lights, taking a little bit of that Spanish moss, making a nest, sticking a little dollar store pumpkin in it, done. Whether you have a little cage item to stick on top of a candlestick, or you just have the candlestick itself to do that with, awesome. This was Again, just like a really inexpensive, thrifted little item, had that fake candle in it, which is perfect because now, you know, I can reach underneath and I can still turn it on. Okay, its battery is done, but you get the idea. And it's just a cute little fall piece that again, just adds a little bit of that touch. And it's not a huge pumpkin, it's just kind of subtle. The last one that we did was, again, for those that, you know what, I don't do orange. And that's cool. You can still have your pumpkins. You can create like a little vignette, something that's going to sit down the middle of your table, sit on a sideboard, up on a bookshelf, something like that. But it's great, you know, it's doing fall, but it's doing fall in your colors, not in the traditional fall colors, because nothing requires you to be a traditionalist. You get to do your own thing. So whether your pumpkins are green or pink or, you know, they could be chartreuse, they could be purple, whatever works for your decor, you can make fall items that suit you. I hope this has given you some inspiration, ways of looking at things different. It's the kind of stuff that I'm always looking for in thrift stores because you can switch it out to any season, and hopefully that gives you an idea of what to keep your eyes peeled for when you're out thrifting next. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Hit me up with your comments. I love hearing from you. And until then, take care.